Negative energy from bad relationships will tear you down just as fast as having the flu.
Let's all learn how to become Sherlock Holmes.
That's right.
Of our body, okay? Let's go over those 7 pillars.
You mentioned one already, sleep. Personal experience, sleep, your body, your bowel movement, which we've already gone over. We'll go past that one as far as GI, your energy level, your mental state. How is your brain thinking? Your relationships in your life, because stress, cortisol, all those things that happen from bad relationships really affect our body. And then your spiritual connection. Don't forget about that. I'm not talking about going to church and religion and which one you belong to. I'm talking, do you feel spiritually connected? So when we learn what's common within those areas and we do a self checkup once in a while, we get busy, and we say, oh, I'll ignore that. But if you consistently kind of check in with yourself in the areas and say, how am I really doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, let's take sleep. What does normal sleep look like? It should be about 8 hours. Most people, there's variances, but 8 hours. And if you wear a wearable or something, you'll know you need a certain amount of REM sleep and deep sleep for you to repair your DNA, detox your brain, all the things that we know. Sleep is imperative. Normal sleep, you go to sleep okay, you stay asleep, and you wake up with good energy. That is a 10. Now, if you can't get to sleep, or you wake up in the middle of the night, or you wake up tired, you've got to find the root of the problem, like you did, Susan, right? There was something up. You had to dig deep to find what was wrong.
Yeah.
So that's normal sleep. Normal body. To me, normal body is you look in the mirror. It's not what your BMI is and all this stuff. You look in the mirror, you like what you see, and you go, good job. I look pretty good. I like it. I feel good. I'm strong. My balance is good. And I like my body. Yeah. That's important, right? You know if you're overweight or underweight, and don't obsess over those things. But the 10 is things are functioning well. You don't have any pain on movement. You're not restricted in your movement. Everything is working well. It feels good. And you like the way you look. That is the body marker. There's 7 pillars of health that I talk about, but the gastrointestinal is one of the most important. Health begins and ends there, because your brain chemistry, your immune system, which, as we all know, affects everything. Yeah. Gut health is very, very important. So a great way to judge if we're getting into the 7 pillars, your gut health is take a look at your poo. And I'm going to call them bowel movements, or poo, but people don't want to talk about it, but we need to talk about it. And they end up laughing and thinking it's a great thing to talk about. But most people don't know what normal is. And I talk a lot about common isn't normal. Just because it's common, everybody around you is tired. Everybody around you has GI issues. It doesn't mean it's normal. So let's talk a minute about normal. Normal bowel movement should be about as long from your wrist to your elbow. That long. And it should be about as big around as your wrist. Okay. In the middle, it should be a soft log. It should definitely be a log. It should be soft and easily passed. It shouldn't smell bad. Sometimes, according to what you ate, it may be a little off, but most days, not smelling bad. And it should happen once a day. Anything outside of that is not normal, in my opinion. And people get better when we have that happen. Now, what causes it not to be? A lengthy parasites, leaky gut, a bacterial infection. That's where the testing comes in. Why are you not having that? But if you're not having that and your doctor tells you, oh, it's okay for you to go to the bathroom every 3 or 4 days, it's because they're constipated. It's not normal. It should be once a day. And that gastric health imperative for everything else.
Yes. Yeah. I remember when you did the 10-minute talk in the Genius Network that we both belong to, and you went through the example of what you just did, and you raised your arm and people were gasping.
Yeah. And Susan, they still talk about what it was that 8 months ago. They still are talking about it. It's still in the chat, or it still comes up. They're going, oh, mine have gotten better. Oh, it's still a topic of let's talk about it. It's a fun
and it's because you opened that door.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a topic that most people talk about. It's like, are you constipated,
You
or
meet
do you have
somebody, yeah,
diarrhea,
yeah,
or do you have
that's right.
normal bowel movements? But nobody talks about the length of it, the width of it,
That's
the
right.
smell of
That's
it.
right. Yeah. And a lot of people don't look. They say, I don't know. And I say, well, you better know. You better start, because there's lots of information in that
Yeah. Isn't
that
that
we can
great?
see. So
Isn't that
yeah,
great?
yeah, very important. And
So that's, and what you just said, I mean, that's a very easy thing. We don't need a doctor to determine if something's right or wrong.
That's
We
right.
just look at our bowel movements every
That's
day and
right.
see how things are
Right.
and how our gut is feeling.
So we did sleep, body, bowel movement. Your mother, if she had been looking, not to say, but maybe if she'd known what was
Totally.
normal bowel movement, she would have caught that something was wrong.
Absolutely. She was taking Metamucil.
Yeah, there you go. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to take anything to have a normal bowel movement. People say, oh, I have a normal bowel movement. And then my next question is, are you doing anything or taking anything to have that happen?
Yes.
And then they'll go, oh, yes, if I don't, I'm constipated. Well, you cut the fire, you turned the fire alarm off, but the fire's still going.
Yeah.
They didn't fix it. So good. All right. Energy levels, another one. A good energy level is you wake up with energy, you're clear, you're going through your day, mind is clicking, your body is good, you're not nervous, you're not anxious, but you've got good, controlled, focused, good energy, and your body's going, I'm ready, let's do this. You can get your workout in, your exercise, you can do anything that you want to do. And then when it's time to go to sleep at night, you wind down, the body's nice and calm and relaxed, and you get good sleep. So energy is something your body, and the problem is now everybody's kind of tired, Susan. Everybody's going, oh, I'm tired, and they just think it's common. Is it long COVID? Is it, all this? Is it just the stress? Yes, all these things play in, but it's a sign that the body has something not working well in it and needs to be supported. Maybe it's a short term, maybe it's a long term, or maybe there's something really bad, a cancer or an autoimmune, something that's causing that drop in that energy level. Adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys, they make cortisol and other stress hormones. And those hormones are good. They're not bad guys. We're supposed to have them to run from a bear and survive, but we're only supposed to ask those adrenal glands to kick in cortisol, get your eyes to dilate, your muscles to contract, and turn off your bowel movements. Now's not the time to have a poo if we're running from a bear. The libido gets shut down. All the things that we don't need to survive gets turned off so we can run from the bear. But we're only supposed to do that when there's a bear, maybe once every few months. Survival, right?
Yes.
Real survival. And then turn it off. Go back to eating berries and relaxing and doing your thing. Most people are stuck in survival mode. So all those things I just mentioned, digestion, libido, energy, sleep, all those things get turned off because you're telling your body you're in survival mode. And so we start thinking that this energy, either nervous energy, anxiety, or depression, or this just physical fatigue, is just normal in its own way. It is not. So is it the adrenal glands, which a lot of times they are part of the energy thing. Yes. And a lot of people have adrenal fatigue right now, a lot, from everything that's
that was some of the supplements that the doctor had me on was adrenals, because right. I was tired, but it was because I wasn't sleeping. Not that I don't need the adrenal support, exactly. But it was, as you were calling, like a Band-Aid was being put over the wound that really wasn't being addressed. And
you might have needed the Band-Aid to keep the adrenals from shutting off, because if they shut off and you're not making those, now we've got a whole nother issue. So you needed support, but you finally found the root of the problem was that lack of sleep. So, all right. And then mental, let's talk about that. Is your brain wiring and firing? Can you think through clearly? Are you having trouble finding a word or cognition? You're just saying, I can't think through it like I used to, or you have different times of day. Good mental is focused energy, connect the dots, and you're not grappling or struggling to think through information or process it. And it's not an aging thing. And if it is, what's going on? Yeah. Do we have some dementia, Alzheimer's? Because we're getting very good at really preventing a lot of those things. So if you're starting to struggle and you just say, well, it's age or it's stress right now, listening to your body, listening to your brain. There's a problem. Is it inflammation? Is there a genetic piece there that we need to know about? You don't wait. You don't wait. If you have a symptom, any symptom in any of the 7 pillars, if it lasts more than a week, or maybe at most 2, give it some time to try to correct. If you just had a death in the family or something that upset your entire whole system, right? Give it a couple of weeks. If it's not correcting, it is not to be ignored. And mental is one of those areas. Next is your relationships. We talk about getting rid of the bad things in our diet, sugar and all the things that we should. But what about the bad relationships? Because even though they might be family and we feel obligated and there's guilt and all those things that go to it, if they are not providing a support for you, if they are not helping you be in a good, positive place, then you may say, you've got to limit that time that you spend with those people. Negative energy from bad relationships will tear you down just as fast as having the flu. Okay. So just like with the doctors, fire the doctors, you need to fire some relationships as well. If they're not bringing positive, supportive energy to you, you need to very much limit how you spend time with those people. Or if we don't need them, you need to say goodbye.
I don't have any living family anymore. And I have a few very close friends. But certainly in the last 2 years, it's Zoom calls and phone calls, a lot of times. And so my family support comes from my animals.
Yeah.
We were talking about my service dog, Red, who you might see walking back and forth behind me from time to time. And so when we can't get the support and the positive energy from the people in our lives, we have other resources available to us.
That's right.
Then also thinking, there was a time where I was helping any client who needed what I could do to assist them. Mm-hmm. And I found that some of them was just pouring energy down the drain.
Yeah.
They weren't people that I felt energized and engaged with as I worked with them. So we talk about firing doctors and firing people in our lives. I found that I fired a lot of clients.
Right.
And now I get to pick and choose who there's a good energy flow with, that I'm helping them, but there's a symbiotic relationship where I'm enjoying that and I'm not feeling drained at the end of the time working with them. So there's a couple different ways that shows up, and we do have the power to make those decisions. So do we have one more pillar?
Yeah, spiritual. And I leave it for last because you don't have to be facing a life challenging crisis. You don't have to be that. Your quality of life goes up to a 10 when you feel connected to something greater than yourself. So meditation, listening to music, something. So I ask my patients the question on their questionnaire. I say, do you have a spiritual practice? And I say spiritual, not religious. I say spiritual. Some will come back and say, I'm Catholic and I do my rosary every day. And I say, or I follow the rules in the book, or, I'm a Baptist and I do all these. And I said, that wasn't my question. Do you feel connected really? And that you can find that connection within your day anytime you want. Do you have a practice, something that you can do that immediately lets you feel God, Spirit, Buddha, whatever their belief system is, that you can feel God? And if you do, and not just hope you're doing all the right rules, if you have that ability, no matter what happens in your life, you can tap in and know that you're going to be okay and it's all okay. And if you don't, then I help them with what's best for that person. What is their existing belief system and how do we get there? But Susan, when you feel a spiritual, if you've ever felt it and you ever know it for real, not just I hope it believes and I have faith in it, but no, you know it, you felt it and you can tap into it, everything gets better. Now the rest is mechanical stuff that I say, let me figure out all that while you're working on the real healing, which is having that spiritual connection.
Yeah. And for me, and I've spoken about this so many times, my spiritual connection is being in nature.
Yes.
It's one of the things that had me move from San Diego up to my 5 acres. I'm in the upstairs of my barn. My house is across the driveway. I look out and I see trees and leaves and squirrels. And again, I'm with my own personal animal tribe. But when I walked the Camino de Santiago 5 years ago, is 5 weeks of just my feet on the ground.
Beautiful.
To go 500 miles. And I can tell you, Dr. Worden, I did not feel half the time like my feet was even touching the ground, because I felt so connected. I felt connected with the land, with the air, with, the sky. And that's my stored memory bank. Whenever I can't get out, the weather is bad, whatever that might be, I can go there.
Perfect.
And I can connect with that and know that my world is bigger than just me.
That's exactly right. And, I tell my oncology patients, the ones that have survived and thrived, they were given 2 weeks to live, and it's been 8 years later, and they have a great quality of life. They were not afraid. They found they're not afraid to die, and they're not afraid of cancer. When they can let go of that, they have cancer, but when they're not afraid of it, and how they let go of all the fear is the connections that you're talking about, Susan. When they find that, it doesn't matter. Their family's going to be okay. They're going to be okay. It's all okay. It's all good, because you know it, you can feel it, and you know it.
Yeah.
And then they survive and thrive. It's those spontaneous remissions.
And I can say without a doubt, Dr. Worden, it has been a blessing and an honor to me and for our viewers to hear your passion as a messenger, your passion with your mission in the world to give people the health care that they need to live a vibrant life for as long as they can and they desire. So thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, and your listeners are so lucky to have you. What a beautiful spirit and force that you are, and knowledgeable. Take care.